My name is Ed Wazelinski. I'm a former basketball coach here at CBA, and I was fortunate enough to have Joe Paterno be one of my players. To understand Joe, you need to know that he is the son of Bill and Grace Paterno. And that's important because it shaped who he was as a person and a player. Bill and Grace were the happiest, mildest people I had ever met in my life. And to a large extent, that's what Joe was as a player. He was peaceful, he was mild mannered, but he was a beast. He was perhaps the strongest player that ever played for me. They raised boys and girls, perhaps the finest family of basketball players the Shore Conference has ever seen. And yet you'd never know it meeting them. During his 3-year varsity career at CBA, we would win 80 games and lose only 6. That included back-to-back 29-1 seasons his junior and his senior year. That team would win 13 championships in those 3 years, including 2 Shore Conference titles and back-to-back Parochial A overall state championships. Joe and his brother Bill combined to lead CBA to 5 of our 8 Parochial A titles. In his career, Joe scored 1,400 points, ranking him 7th all-time at CBA. He had all Shore honors for all 3 years. He was on the varsity. And his senior year, he was arguably the best player in the Shore and perhaps the state of New Jersey. One great story was we were playing for the South Jersey finals at Lakewood against an undefeated McCarriston team. And they had an all-state guard who stole a pass and was on a breakaway to score, and Joe was trailing him. He went up, Joe went up, and Joe had this greatest block I've ever seen, and the whistle blew. Tommy Lowenstein, who was a Shore Conference referee icon, blew the whistle, came over to the bench to report the foul, and came over to me then, because I was standing obviously staring at him, and he walked over to me and he said to me, "Listen, Ed, you, Joe, and I all know that that was a real clean block. But there are 3,000 people here who don't know that, and we're not going to make a fool out of me." And we laughed. And then as he walked away, he said to me, "How did he do that?" And I think that was the epitome of Joe's career. He did it day in and day out, and people would wonder, how did he do that? His recruiting was odd because people always wanted something else. Boston College offered him a scholarship and then had doubts. Manhattan College, my alma mater, called me every day, and we spoke for an hour every single day about Joe Paterno. And I said to him, "You're going to feel very foolish if he goes to Fordham and Manhattan College, my alma mater, didn't recruit him." PJ Carlissimo from Seton Hall was under a lot of pressure from his assistants. They wanted Joe from day one. "PJ, what are we doing?" And he said, "I don't know." I said, "Well, the mom and dad are going to give Fordham an answer in a day. And if you don't offer before then, there will be no opportunity." Sure enough, a week later, PJ calls and said, "Yes, we made up our mind, we want him." And true to their character, Mr. and Mrs. Paterno said, "No, we gave our word to Fordham. Joe's going to Fordham," where he had an outstanding career. Years later, PJ called me and said that his recruitment of Joe was the single biggest mistake he ever made in his career. In closing, I would like to thank you very much for everything you did for me personally to launch my career, and for CBA to help foster that great reputation of CBA basketball that we have. I've read that someone gets selected to a Hall of Fame because of his individual accomplishments and his contributions to the team he played on. Joe has all of those characteristics. Congratulations, Joe, on a well deserved honor.